Labor unions are often associated with rising living standards for the working class and for left-wing calls for worker solidarity, or all workers coming together. But an understanding of economics makes it clear that unions are the opposite of worker solidarity, because the only way unions can and have raised wages for their members is by lowering wages for other workers or eliminating their jobs altogether. In economics, the term for the higher wages union members enjoy is the restrictionist price of labor. It's restrictionist because it relies on a union's ability to restrict the supply of workers available to those looking to hire. For early craft unions or guilds, this effect was pretty obvious, as the union controlled the entire craft in question and would limit the supply of craftsmen with strict skill qualifications that were set by the unions themselves, rather than the people requesting their services. Workers who had a level of skill people were willing to pay for, but that did not reach the level required by the craft union, were blocked from working and kept in a state of or underemployment. That restricted supply raised wages for the workers who were able to join the union. So some workers benefited, but only at the direct expense of other workers. Most unions today are a bit different. Craft unions are less common. Now we have larger industrial unions that aim to represent all workers in a given industry. It can appear like these unions are doing the opposite of restricting the labor supply, because they often push to welcome as many workers in their given industry as possible. But the supply restriction is still there. It just takes a new form. Industrial unions demand a higher minimum wage for their members than would have been attained without the union. Many have succeeded in bringing that about. But because labor is one of many production costs that go into making things that may someday be sold, rather than the inexplicably always positive present share of possible future profits that Marxists seem to think it is, the higher cost of production decreases the number of workers that entrepreneurs can hire. That's how most modern unions restrict the supply of labor. Crucially, these industrial unions need to prevent unaffiliated or unemployed workers from easily taking their members' jobs by offering to work at a wage slightly lower than the union wage. For centuries, unions have been demonizing workers who do this as scabs, the lowest form of humans. They've also used beatings, vandalism, arson, and bombings to dissuade non-union workers from going around the restrictionist pricing scheme. Today, unions mainly rely on government interventions to keep labor supply limited in a way that benefits the union. Legislation like the Fair Labor Standards Act and the Wagner Act accomplish today what the beatings and bombings did before. Still, the basic restrictionist dynamic that underlies all labor union setups is still at play. Despite how they present themselves, unions don't bring all workers together. Their entire arrangement rests on pinning some workers against others.